Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. Is it time? Is it time to discuss whether or not this is the end for Bitcoin and crypto? So many have exited the market completely. And today, it's just an absolute apocalypse when you look at what's happening with stocks, with the equity market, and for altcoins. So does that mean we need to have a serious conversation whether or not we are going to go into a long, prolonged bear market for Bitcoin and crypto? Well, I'm going to address that very question today. So let's get started. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, 2 streams almost every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and hit that notification bell. And check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome, guys. A lot of fear out there right now. But guess what? Bitcoin is crawling up. It is above 35,000 now. Much better than this morning when it flash crashed down to about 32,900. In fact, there was a scam wick right here that you can see. I call it a scam wick because there was a sudden push up to about 38,000. Then it dipped down and then it continued to go down further. However, we're starting to see some traction for Bitcoin. And altcoins are still not doing too good. Hasn't flipped up or anything. But is it the end for Bitcoin and crypto? Well, let's take a look. Before I get to answer that question, let's take a look what's happening today. Okay, today is just a very, very, very bad day. In fact, the Dow was at negative 1,000, which we haven't seen in a while. But what's even worse is Nasdaq at negative 4%, over 500 wiped out. That is normally something that you don't see across the board on such a big index like Nasdaq, unless you have days like this where there's true panic from Wall Street. Really panicking about what's going to happen tomorrow. And just take a look. Netflix down almost 10%. They are down close to 40% within a matter of days. 40%. That's even worse than some altcoins out there. Even Tesla, which is going to report on Wednesday, down 8%. Well, what about crypto companies like MicroStrategy, now down 9% on top of all the downs that they've experienced recently. Coinbase down 11%. And even Riot, a mining company, is down 8%. Today is a total slaughterhouse, okay? When it comes to stocks and crypto, the only thing you could do is laugh about it because it's a slaughterhouse, okay? There's no other way to put it. And of course, this is all anticipation of this. The Fed meeting that's going to happen tomorrow and Wednesday. Many are still anticipating that Chairman Powell will be very hawkish, and talk about 4 rate hikes. And the first one will start in March. Go start buying less bonds, start selling off the balance sheet, and basically liquidity into the market is going to stop flowing, and it's all doom and gloom from there, right? This is why Wall Street is panicking right now. In fact, I usually show you guys like oversold levels, RSI levels, and stuff like that. Someone posted this. This is not of Bitcoin. This is of Nasdaq. Nasdaq is so oversold right now. It's at the same point as 2009. So it's been how many years? 13 years? Nasdaq has not been this oversold since 2009 when we had that last recession. That shows you how much fear there is right now in the market. Okay, 12 years. So think about that. So yeah, there's a lot of fear out there. And what's also contributing to the fear is this, and not a whole lot of people is talking about it, is that, yeah, Russia has just deployed like 100,000 troops to the border. U.S. sent a ton of lethal aid. That's what I was told. Lethal aid. I don't know when we decided to call weapons lethal aid to Ukraine, but this is also starting to escalate. Whether or not a peaceful resolution will be found, or if there's war coming, right? So this is also coming, and this is not good. So you add what's going on with this, with the FOMC meeting that's going to start tomorrow. You know what? It's looking pretty darn bad, right? This is why everyone is panicking, why the markets are selling off, and why so many people have exited the market. However, does that mean the end is near? Today's one of those days that's weird because, you know, a lot of crypto people tend to make fun of themselves, make fun of the new positions that they have, right? For example, even President Bukele tweeted this, that he is now working at McDonald's. Michael Saylor, of course, said that he's working at Tainis, which is a hibachi place, right? Even Plan B, of all people, Plan B, rather than post a stock to flow model, he posted this, and we can't argue with that right now. Can't argue with that at all. But does this mean that it's all over for Bitcoin and crypto, right? When everyone has lost it, when everyone is so fearful and down, does that mean it's time to get out? Get out of the market, cut your losses, and forget about attaining life-changing wealth through crypto because it was just a fantasy all along. Does that mean it's time? It's time. Well, my answer is no. No, it's not. And I have reasons to share why, but one of the things I've been driving home for the last few days is when everyone is anticipating the worst news and everyone is bearish and everyone thinks it is over, that's when you want to get in. That's when the real investors come in and pounce on the terrific and awesome sales that is going on. And partly the reason why I think Bitcoin is starting to come up, because we know Bitcoin has been very, very, very oversold. In fact, this morning dropping to 32.9, which some speculated needed to happen because we had an unfilled futures gap, and people are still talking about that. But we filled that, and since then, despite the overall market getting worse, Bitcoin is actually starting to come up. Can we see 36,000 by the end of this stream? Maybe. Some investors out there realize, well, we should not be like Wall Street because they're just being reactive. They don't really believe in the first place. Maybe Wall Street is completely out of crypto and Bitcoin already. And if that's the case, what's left is the true holders. The holders that are holding on no matter what, and maybe we could start forming a base from here. Okay, so that's my opinion. Okay, when everyone, literally everyone on the planet Earth is fearful about what's going to be announced in the next few days, you know what? I think it's a pretty good buying opportunity, and I have some reasons for that. Number one is, you know, I talked about liquidations a lot in the past, right? A lot of people getting liquidated, getting wrecked. A lot of people getting margin called on their loans, right? That's one thing I've always said. Don't invest more than what you can afford to lose. Don't take a loan against your Bitcoin. I'm hearing that a lot of people that have taken their loans with their Bitcoin or Ethereum on lending platforms like Celsius, they're all getting margin called. And some can't pay it back, so they're being sold. So that's also adding to it. But of course, we've seen many people get liquidated as well because they're just taking a risk, right? Well, it seems like that's starting to die down, because even on a day like today when we had a pretty big dip, you know, the leverage longs started coming down. Nowhere as bad as the last week. You could see that this morning about 150 to about 200 million overall, but you could definitely see that this is not nearly as bad as before, right? So again, the leverage traders, greedy traders, they're gone. They've been wrecked, right? The ones that may be liquidated or margin called through their loans, well, maybe they're starting to dissipate too. And it does look like Wall Street has just gotten out, right? Besides the true holders like MicroStrategy, and even you could include Tesla in there, and Square, and the miners, and some of the bigger funds out there like Grayscale and stuff, those guys are not going to sell ever. But all the other ones, they seem to have sold off. They seem to have disappeared, right? So these are good signs. They're good signs that we are forming that bottom, that we are building that base so that we can continue forward, okay? So there's a couple things I want to show you guys. Number one is, if you look at TVL today, TVL of all the DeFi projects, which did take a big dump, because when the underlying tokens that this is representing is going down and have taken a dump, then of course TVL goes down, right? Seeing how much altcoins have sold off recently, it makes sense. But you can see 24-hour change. 24-hour change actually went up 4%, which means that there's more people right now taking advantage of DeFi. And this is what I've been suggesting too, right? If you're going to be a long-term holder, why would you not put more into DeFi products where you're making interest, you're making rewards, right? It just makes sense. And it does seem like people are taking advantage. They're learning from that. That is why you have the TVL actually going up 5% or close to 5% for today. Something else I just got to point out, not that I think it's going to carry the market, but if you look at the NFT market, the NFT market is up 18% today. So despite the fact you do think that, hey, everyone is being conservative right now and everyone's leaving the market, well, the NFT market is still ongoing and blowing up. So total volume about 17 billion, 16.5 billion, but 24-hour change up 18%. So these are encouraging metrics. People that are staking and earning rewards, meaning that they are in for the long haul, they're not exiting the market. And you still have people that are speculating on NFTs, because there's still a lot of NFTs coming out, a lot of hyped up brands that are coming in, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. So these two are important metrics. Also, if you're just looking at it from a technical perspective, this is one from TechDev, which shows that Bitcoin is oversold. At the same point, this is on a weekly scale. The RSI is getting the same point as when Bitcoin touched 3,800 back in 2020. Not 30,000 from last year. We're at the same point as when Bitcoin was down to 3,800. And also the same point, close to it, when Bitcoin fell down to 3,000 back in 2019, right? So this does show you from a technical standpoint that Bitcoin is extremely, extremely oversold. Even the person that invented Bollinger Bands is coming out and tweeting how we should start thinking about a bottom in crypto. Bitcoin has been on if you look at a Bollinger Band, I don't have an example today, but it is on a very low side, outside the range of Bollinger Bands. So even the guy who invented Bollinger Bands thinks that, hey, we should start thinking about a bottom. And what's funny is he hashtagged Litecoin in here, and people are asking if Litecoin hashtag is still relevant today. So I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one that feels the same way about Litecoin. But just to show you that there are some people that are thinking about it, thinking about how there's so much fear and panic going on, maybe it's start to think about where that bottom is, starting to take advantage of our situation rather than think about selling out now, which many people have done so, right? Even some of the big influencers have done so recently because they're so fearful. They're thinking that the market could continue to go down and get worse and worse and worse, which it can, right? But think about it. We're all off more than 50% already for Bitcoin, right? The downside is more limited than the upside right now. Although some haters will say, no, the downside is to zero. No, Bitcoin is not going to zero, right? So panic selling now, trying to cut your losses now, just is not a smart thing. If you held on all this time, continue to hodl, right? Continue to hodl, have that patience, and think about taking advantage if you can, because that is what the smart investors do. They take advantage when others are fearful, like right now. All right, now besides this, other things that support this case, well, illiquid supply for Bitcoin continues to go up. This is the ultimate measure of whether or not Bitcoin is being deposited into exchanges and being liquidated. And the answer is no. No, it's not. So all this price action that's happening right now is basically within the Bitcoins on the exchanges. This is not Bitcoin being deposited by the miners, not being deposited by Michael Saylor or any other large whale. All that's happening right now is happening within exchanges. The liquid supply, which measures Bitcoin off the exchanges, continue to rise. It didn't get affected at all. It didn't go down nearly at all versus the price action. So this is also very, very, very encouraging. And I did talk about this already. Oh no, this one is talking about, filling that gap. But what's interesting out of here is the number of Bitcoins that has not been moved for at least 12 months hit 60%. So again, adds to that liquid supply, adds to the fact that holders will continue to hold no matter what. And what we're waiting for is Wall Street right now that have gotten in 2021 that are panic selling, and retail investors that simply don't have the patience to hold. We're waiting for them to get out. But I honestly feel we're close. We're very close to that point because the holders continue to believe, continue to DCA, continue to buy, and continue to hold. So there's no reason why that we have any fear that the remaining 60%, right, is going to drop, because basically these are the holders, long-time holders and miners and the people that truly believe in Bitcoin in the long haul. Okay, so there you go. Outside of that, man, that's pretty much it. Right now what we're seeing is Bitcoin having a pretty good run up above 35,000, which is interesting. The big question mark I think a lot of you guys are asking about is whether or not this will stay. Whether or not this is just another fake out to make you think that we are heading up, but it's going to reverse down. That could be a possibility. Just look at this big scam wick this morning, right? When Bitcoin rallied 37,000, could have been a short squeeze, right, to liquidate the shorts, because that would have liquidated a lot of shorts also. But we are basically right back to the point, at least for Bitcoin, the same point as we were last night. We didn't go any lower. Now, the altcoins did sell off tremendously, okay, because of fear, because of a lot of fear. So if you're looking at 24 hours on CMC, you can notice that Bitcoin is actually, it might even flip to the green. But today, if you're thinking about DCA, man, there are a lot of bargains right now if you're looking at altcoins, because even Ethereum went down 4%, Binance Coin 5%, Solana down a staggering 10% today. Luna barely moved, right? I've told you guys, I think Terra is going to flip Solana. It might happen today. There's only a 700 million separating the two, but Solana might be pushed out to number 9 pretty soon if they continue this horrendous sell-off. And that's due to a couple reasons. The continuous network outages and the number of VCs holding. I think that's crucial. The number of VCs holding, they may be just like getting out right now, right? Could be why they have been so weak. But Terra, because of Terra USD, man, that is really, really carrying them right now. But you have other ones that sold off quite a bit too, like Avalanche, so-so, but still, I think they're a terrific play. Polygon went off big today, down 10%. Really no reason for that other than fear. Cosmos, look at Cosmos. Cosmos says, screw it. We're not going down. Cosmos is actually up 4% today. That's fantastic, and that's really amazing if you think about the number of the fear level today, right? So that's actually really, really amazing. But then you also have others like Algorand, I think is a good buy. Chainlink also, biggest oracle out there. Today is bargains bargain hunting day, or DCA day, right? VeChain over 10% today. Even Hedera. There's several others in here, right? Today is a good DCA day, if I say so myself. But it's very, very encouraging that Bitcoin, look at it. I said, can we see 36,000 by the end of this stream? Maybe. We are definitely seeing some momentum here. If you're looking at the volume, wondering whether or not this is legit, well, the volume is actually picking up versus, yesterday. So we're seeing some good volume into Bitcoin right now. Can we actually see green for Bitcoin today with the market not doing so well? Well, that would be pretty encouraging, right? This is what we want to see. This is what we want to see in a good way, where Bitcoin is decoupling from Nasdaq, which we know right now very, very coupled, mostly because of Wall Street, because they're equating, they bought in Bitcoin in 2021 and possibly several altcoins in 2021, and they're selling off because they're selling off their tech stock, and they're kind of equating the two being the same. But we know they're not the same, especially when we're talking about Bitcoin. But it's very encouraging that we're seeing Bitcoin coming up and altcoins starting to come up a little bit, yet the overall market's still being down. Very, very encouraging. Like I said, when everyone is 100% fearful, that's when you may want to go against the herd, right? The herd mentality. You know what? This is why I say, do the opposite. Do the opposite. Don't be fearful and don't follow the herd. All right. Yeah, I think that's it. That's it. The only two other things before Q&A is I didn't want to announce my partner ITrustCapital. So if you are thinking about DCAing, ITrustCapital allows you to buy crypto utilizing your retirement funds and 401k. And I know many of you guys have taken advantage, so you don't have to worry about tax. You don't have to worry about taxes of capital gains, right? So they just added Avalanche today, so that's a pretty big one, but they already have many others. Basically every single one that you could think of. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, Cardano, Solana, Avalanche now, and even some meme coins. So they did add that. And then one other thing I want to show you guys, and this is from my new partner. And it's very important because right now I've been talking about DCAing, right? And some of you guys may not understand what DCA means or how to do it. But basically, you're just setting yourself a schedule, right? You're setting yourself on a schedule to either buy the dip based on some criteria, like a percentage, or you're going by some time frame, weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, whatever you may be, right? So that is something I'm going to show you guys with Vauld, which is one of my new partners. They give you terrific rates just by leaving your crypto in their wallet. So they are one of the latest lending plays out there. However, they also allow you to buy. And what they have is called AIP, which is basically DCAing. And what I like about this is how simple it is. It's really simple. So you could see, you could buy the dip right here. You could set buy the dip and what percentage you want. If the price goes down by 10%, you want to buy the dip? Okay. If you don't want to buy the dip and you want to follow by a daily schedule, weekly schedule, monthly schedule, right? And you could set 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it may be, you could do so as well, right? So that is DCA. Scheduling based on either a time scale or by some kind of criteria like 5%, 10%, 2% is way too aggressive, but like 10%, that's a pretty good one. But many people wait even longer, 15, 20%, whatever, right? But just want to show you guys what it's all about. And Vauld can help you with that. And not only that, you can also get some terrific rates with BTC and stablecoins, especially with stablecoins, and many others like Ethereum and even XRP and BAD and Stellar and many other cryptos that you guys are familiar with. All right, that's pretty much it. You know what? Ooh, we're almost back to 36,000. This is looking real. This is looking pretty real. All right, let's do some Q&A. BTC pump faking more than Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe, but let's keep an eye. Let's keep an eye on the volume right here, because volume, you could see, is starting to pick up, right? You can see when we dumped from 36 over here, 36.5 down. You can look at the volume. Look at how low the volume is compared to now. So the volume is definitely picking up. It's picking up in a big way, in a good way too. So, and if you're looking at like whether or not Bitcoin is oversold, right now you could see on the 1 hour time frame, MACD below just flipped to the green. RSI touched the bottom when we hit about 33,000 today. It's starting to come back up, right? And if you're looking at 4 hour, well, 4 hour MACD flipped to the green, also hit that bottom this morning. And stochastic RSI, which was actually coming down, is starting to come back up. And if you look at a daily, man, daily shows we are extremely oversold. MACD has not flipped yet, but RSI is at 25, and stochastic is about to flip up. So, I mean, from a technical standpoint, Bitcoin is extremely oversold. We know that. We already knew that, right? But what's going on right now is maybe people are starting to recognize that Bitcoin is too oversold, and we need to get in, and we need to go against the herd mentality. Or maybe they're realizing that there's no better buy to hedge against inflation than Bitcoin. Or there's a third theory I saw someone say in the chat, maybe because Ukraine and Ukraine citizens are starting to buy Bitcoin to get their wealth out, get their money out of Ukraine if this escalates, which is an interesting theory. I saw someone mention it. That could also be the case too. So that's actually pretty interesting. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes while I do Q&A. All right, scrolling up here. Real Raid Boss says, this is one of your best streams ever. I appreciate that. I do. I put a lot of thought and heart into these streams. You know, sometimes you know, it really gets to me, but you know, I continue forward because I want you guys to not do irrational things and make the same mistakes that I made over the last few years. I made so many of them. So many of them. Tomorrow's Fed meeting won't affect prices much. Tomorrow won't. It's Wednesday. Wednesday is when Powell actually comes out and announces what they decided. So we have to wait until Wednesday to see. Alexander said, I will wait until the Powell meeting, then proceed to buy. It's illogical to do so because the sell-off currently might be far, far from the bottom. No, I don't agree with that. If you're trying to trade, if you're trying to be a trader, that's what you would do. Traders look for confirmations. They get in and out of the market, right? And some, I would say many, that come into the market think they're traders. That's why Robinhood is so widely used by the millennials, right? Why it got popular. Because everyone thinks they could time the market. Everyone thinks that they could get in on the bottom and get out on the top. And most people that try to be traders get wrecked and they lose money because you just don't know. You got to think about it. Everyone knows that the meeting is coming out on Wednesday, right? So everyone already knows that. Look at this. We're at 36.2 now. Everyone knows the meeting is going to come out tomorrow, 2 days. And everyone right now is anticipating that it's going to be super, super hawkish, which means it's going to be super, super bearish for the market. But that's what everyone thinks. And is everyone really right all the time? In most cases, no. The herd mentality is usually wrong, right? That's where the smart investor will say, well, maybe they are wrong, so I'm going to hedge against what everyone else is saying. I'm going to DCA. I'm going to buy a little bit. Doesn't mean that you buy all in, right? You buy a little bit in case everyone else is wrong, and I become right, and I profit from that, right? But nevertheless, again, going back to this trader mentality, don't try to trade. Be an investor. Be in it for the long haul, because that's what you need to be. You need to be an investor basically to make money. And I could argue that with crypto, with stocks, with anything. You want to be an investor, not a trader. And yes, you could argue some traders are successful, but I would argue the most successful people when it comes to investing is all from holding and buying low and holding and being an investor, not a trader. All right. Let's see here. Leo. Okay, I appreciate that. Root TV says, you're the best crypto therapist. I appreciate that. What's your, Mark Outblast asks, you're the best. What's your opinion on Woo Network and Woo Token? I've never been big into the project, but I heard they got bought out, or they have some big partnership with some other firm. I forgot who, but it's just a project I never got really involved with, so I can't really answer that. I just remember very early on, I hated their marketing slogan on their webpage, but they're a terminal that helps people to trade, and I think they're really involved with algorithmic trading and what do you call it? I forgot. But yeah, it's for traders. I think you were wrong about DeFi chain the other day. It's not based on ETH. It's a separate blockchain based on optimized for DeFi. Well, then what chain is it based on? Is it its own chain? I've heard some people talk about DeFi chain. Sorry, I just didn't get a chance to properly look at it. Joseph says, your video on Luna earning helped me earn a lot. On my Luna, one note, you could use Spectrum protocol to auto-compound your Anchor UST liquidity pool. Interesting. See, the thing is, I don't like... Anchor hasn't been doing that well. So in terms of using liquidity pools, I would not use Anchor/UST. I would much rather use Luna/UST or some kind of pair against UST or some other pair with Luna, not Anchor itself, because Anchor itself has not been doing that well. But what is doing well right now is Bitcoin. Volume is still holding. That's very encouraging. Let's see where this goes. If somehow, right, you could see local top recently has been about 36.5, which we're not too far from off. So you could see right here, then we had over here 36.5, 36.6. If we could actually smash through that and get above 37, and actually hold it and utilize it as a support again like before, that would be fantastic. If we could see that happen, that would be fantastic. I don't think that's going to happen during the stream, but we will see. We will see. Jellybean, I appreciate that. Phantom is pumping. Well, Phantom, I mean, I just did a video on Phantom yesterday, and Phantom's TVL is like blowing up like crazy. So where is Phantom right now? Phantom is at number 28. They're in the green. It's very encouraging that today, I mean, look at Cosmos. I don't know what's going on with Cosmos right now, but Cosmos is defying all the FUD right now. Up 9% today. They're actually getting pretty close to their all-time high. So remember, for months I've been telling you guys to hold Cosmos. It's undervalued, right? And it's defying all odds right now and having a huge day on a day like today. Imagine when we actually do have green days. It's looking very promising, right? And Terra is still holding strong, barely down today, right? This flip with Solana, I think that could happen like either today or tomorrow. I think that's for sure going to happen. All right, let's see here. Alameda Research equals market maker equal market manipulation. I don't know if they're a market maker. They're more investor. They've invested in every single NFT project, metaverse project. So they're definitely an investor. They get in very early. They invest seed rounds, strategic rounds of basically every single NFT project that has any kind of promise. So the reason why they've gotten that huge evaluation recently is because of all their investments into the smaller projects. So I don't consider them a market maker. I consider them, just like a VC of crypto. Theoretically, Franco asks, can an exchange delist Bitcoin so altcoins be bought only with stable coins? Of course that's theoretically possible. Will they ever do that? That would be really stupid of them. because there's still so many people that trade with Bitcoin. There's still so many trading pairs with Bitcoin. So can they do so? Yes. It would be stupid if they did. What if Wall Street keeps tanking? Well, you're talking about what if Nasdaq keeps tanking, right? What if the entire market keeps tanking? Well, it could. But their grasp over, not grasp, but their control over Bitcoin goes as far as the number they hold, right? And if they're already dumping Bitcoin, they're already selling off Bitcoin, and they're trying to prepare for the worst, right? Then at some point you think that, well, their control is going to be lessened or loosened because they've already sold out, right? They can still buy Bitcoin futures and stuff, but futures have an indirect correlation with Bitcoin. I mean, futures based on cash. And there's no ETF yet in the US. So they could be buying the ETF from Canada, maybe panic selling that. But if they buy into Grayscale Bitcoin Trust share, it just caused Grayscale to buy more Bitcoin. That never gets released back into the market. So to answer your question, eventually we're going to see if Wall Street continues its path of just selling off stock. I believe we're going to see that inflection point where basically there's no more to be sold by them, and that's when we can truly recover. You know, it's a different thing, and I made mention of this. 2021 is different for Bitcoin because, honestly, it was led by institutional investors and Wall Street. We never had that before. We had 4-year cycles where it was driven by retail, maybe some manipulation by the whales, but it was primarily driven by retail. Right now, what we're seeing is driven by institutions of Wall Street, right? But during this time, many people have really come to basically just trading Bitcoin as a store of value. Instead of a tradable asset, many are just viewing as an asset you just hold, right? Which is why the liquid supply is high, why the number of holders is high, and many that want to trade or make money have moved to the L1s and DeFi and NFTs, right? So I think from that perspective, it's also retail consumption of Bitcoin has changed in 2021, 2022 versus all previous cycles before. All right, let's see here. My chat is all screwy, guys. So if I missed some of your super chats, I apologize. It's like getting frozen and stuff, and I have to like refresh. When you found out Solana was mainly held by VCs, it changed my mind towards that. Unfortunately, thanks for sharing that with us. Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things. When it was pumping, you could argue that the VCs involved, they helped it. They helped it pump. Not only did they not sell, but they probably bought a lot while it was going up, right? And one of the reasons why I got involved with Solana and bought it myself is because I found out how well backed it was by Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX. He really loves Solana. He put a lot of money into Solana and Solana-based projects, but recently he's been diversifying. He's been putting more money into Phantom and some of the other projects like Alameda Research and stuff like that, right? So, but now, yeah, to answer your question, now it's kind of reversed. Some of the VCs got like fearful, and I'm pretty sure they're selling. Tesla 888, 885 now. Tesla, well, it seems like the market is starting to come up a little bit. Well, negative 790, negative 405. Yeah, it's starting to come up a little bit, but I mean, if you're a stock investor too, not just crypto, if you're a stock investor, today is a pretty horrific day, but also, good time to DCA into stocks. I mean, especially some of these sold off crypto stocks, right? Like MicroStrategy. I mean, they're in a weird spot because even when Bitcoin was really pumping and overall market was doing good, it seemed like Wall Street did not like MicroStrategy. They kind of just like kept it, at a ceiling, and they would not let it go. But others started to do well. Like Coinbase started doing really well. Ride and the mining company started doing well, and they're just showing weakness now. But they had some tremendous movement in 2021. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue to get plummeted by Wall Street, or they will also find that base just like Bitcoin and continue further. I think it's the latter. I think it's the latter. ICP all-time lows are worth speculating on? No, I think there's much better projects to speculate on than ICP. If we're looking at like what's like the most oversold today, let's just take a look since we have time. What's the most oversold project today that I still believe in, I still like? Solana is one of them, but I did warn you guys yesterday. I'm going to keep a closer eye on them, not only because of their VC involvement, but the endless network outages. And it caused a lot of people to get liquidated with their DeFi, with certain DeFi projects that offered leveraging and collateral. So even though I support them, I'm going to go a little bit less aggressive with them, with Solana, but I'm going to keep a closer eye on them. But others, Cardano dropped below $1. I thought that was a pretty good pickup. Even at 105, I think it's pretty good. Avalanche, I think, is a great pickup. You guys know me, I skipped over Terra, but I really, really, really like Terra. I really like Terra. Cosmos, I've been telling you guys about how undervalued it is. So today, unfortunately, it's not red, but if it was deep in the red, I would definitely say go Cosmos as well. But, some of the other ones like Chainlink is always a staple. And then Phantom, I really like Phantom. Their TVO has blown up like crazy recently. So unfortunately, they're not in the red, but still, I think a good pickup for last 7 days. They're still down 25%. You look at some of the other ones, it looks like Metaverses got destroyed today, right? I think Metaverses will come back. The hype is not over. NFTs are not over. So I think decentralized sandbox, they're going to come back. VeChain, still have big hope for them for 2022 because of DeFi. Pretty good DCA. You can see Sandbox is down. Elrond is another promising one. Elrond, Tezos, Harmony, especially Harmony. Harmony sold off like crazy recently. 43% last 7 days. Jewel also sold off crazily from DeFi Kingdoms. I think they're really good pickups right now because we know Harmony is doing the same thing the other L1s are doing. They're growing. And DeFi Kingdoms, which is the most popular DEX and game on Harmony, I think they're going to continue forward. They're going to open up on Avalanche soon. So I think they're prime pickup right now as a DCA candidate. And there's many others in here. Quite surprised that Neo is up here. But, some other ones like Engine because their new Infinity chain. KuCoin because of their exchange. I think they are terrific buys. There's a lot of hype about Oasis recently. I think because they're partnered up with Facebook with the metaverse, I think that has driven them up quite a bit. But yeah, they've been sold off a lot. Like Arweave for decentralized storage play, pretty good pickup. Cadena up below $5. I think they're going to be terrific. I think they're going to have a very bright future. So I think they're a good pickup. And then rounding out the list, that's about it. But these are just ones off from the top of my head real quick. There's so many other ones right now. Where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin is still holding. 35.8. Let's see here. Dan, I already mentioned about Ukraine and Russia. I'll have to agree with David saying Lakers are trash right now. Not something that I look forward to in terms of watching their games. It just seems like they have no clue what's going on. Frank Vogel will be gone. They're going to need to bring someone else in to take control. Randy says, got margin called and lost more than I wanted to say. I'm sorry to hear that. This is the reason why when earlier in 2021, when everything was looking cheery, You had, Michael Saylor come out and say, hey, you know what? Everyone should just take a loan against their Bitcoin. Rather than sell it, take a loan and utilize that, right? He was directing that more toward the miners, and many miners have adopted it, right? And if you could afford to do so, then great. But unfortunately, we go through volatility, volatile times, right? And Bitcoin has fallen below 50%. Ethereum definitely has fallen below 50%. And when you get margin called, you got to put in more. If you don't, they're just go liquidate your position, right? And many people recently have been liquidated not from leverage, but from taking a loan against their crypto. And I've always advised against it. I've always said, don't do it because there is a risk. There is a risk. So I even heard like Rob from Digital Asset News that he got margin called too, but I saw his latest video where he said he put in more collateral, right? So it seems like he's okay, but many others have experienced that pain as well. So that's not helping the overall market right now either. Do I like Gala? I do like Gala. I think Gala is good. It's good hold. All right, anything else? Young Millionaire says, I took a loan against my Bitcoin at 62,000. Well, you still got a few thousand to go. Hopefully we don't go below 30,000, but it does show you, right? You just gotta be careful. You gotta be careful with your money. So if you're gonna get in the game, right, don't invest more than what you can afford to lose. Be an investor, be in the long haul, DCA into things. Don't go all in into things, right? And just don't risk, buying crypto is already risky enough. Don't increase the risk even more by playing with leverage or by borrowing against your Bitcoin. Because if you do that, you're basically saying you can't afford it. So don't do it, right? Don't play with leverage or borrowing, because unless you're a miner, that's different. If you need to pay for operations, that's different. But here's an interesting thought. Those miners that also borrowed against their Bitcoin to buy their mining machines, wonder if they're having the same issue right now too. Zach, I just answered about Cadena. No, I don't think they're dead. And to be honest, asking a question like that serves no purpose. It's like asking, is Bitcoin dead? Do you really think I'm going to say, is Bitcoin dead? Is Cadena dead? No, it's not. So, yes. Thanos is right. Can you talk about CBDCs and how this will affect Bitcoin in the future? No, it doesn't affect Bitcoin at all. Zero. CBDCs is just replacing the dollar to be digital dollar. Nothing changes. It will still be inflated. It'll still be controlled by a central bank. So it does not change things. It will affect crypto that's in the payment system, payment space. But Bitcoin is a store of value, in my opinion. Many Bitcoin maxis will still say Bitcoin should be a payment system, something that you utilize, like say Lightning Network, and use it day to day, and you could definitely use it like that. But with something like Bitcoin, which has volatility and you're rewarded for holding it because it just keeps going up, it keeps appreciating, it is a store of value to me. So CBDCs, in my opinion, does not affect Bitcoin at all. It's not a Bitcoin killer. Zero chance. All right, I'll let you guys go. I'm going to grab some lunch, and you guys should too, but it's very good. It's very good that Bitcoin is actually coming up and maybe in the green soon, right? And we do have good volume, so it does show that there is some legs behind this rally and not just a fake out where we're going to go down. I mean, it could. Of course, it still could, but this is encouraging. But overall, my point of this video is this the end for Bitcoin and crypto? When everyone is predicting doom and gloom, when the equities market is selling off like there's no tomorrow, and other people, prominent people that have said, I've sold out, I'm done, we're going to go down much further, right? When everyone is looking super bearish, that's when I say, you go against the herd, okay? You don't follow what everyone else is doing. If everyone else is jumping off a bridge, does not mean that you should follow with them, right? Maybe take a parachute before you jump off. And so that's why I would argue that, hey, maybe this is a good time to be DCAing. To buy a little, buy the dip, right? Take advantage of the bargains that are out there. You never know. You never know. Things could go down, but that's when you DCA a little more, right? That's where you just got to make sure that you have, first of all, you don't panic. Second of all, you stay patient. Third, you're treating Bitcoin and crypto as investment. And fourth, right, if you have the ability, DCA what others are fearful. That's my strategy. That's my game plan. And I'm going to stick to that. So you decide what you want to do. Thanks for tuning in. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Take care, guys. Bye-bye.